Thank you so much for staying tuned to this channel. Thank you also for waiting patiently for the program International Forum. Sincere apologies for coming behind schedule. We have to cross our T's and dot our I's to make sure we give you what you really deserve to see. We're going to talk about International Forum stories making round globally. I am Wilson Marshall. Like we used to do, we go across board, bringing out stories making the rounds. First point of call is what is really happening right now. Yes, Boeing 777. You might have heard about the Boeing 77 aircraft that, you know, the pilot, through the grace of God, was able to maneuver and discover that the fan, or one of the fans of the Boeing airline, caught fire. Discovered that several of them, yes, they are not fit to run. What really gave rise to this? Nobody could really pinpoint it, but as it stands right now, investigators say signs of metal fatigue found on Chase Denver plane engine of Boeing 777. Yeah, because they've been lying dormant for quite a while. Yeah, and they want to, like, you know, resume flight. For what they said, metal fatigue. As in the metal just like bam, fatigue. So for that reason, the Boeing 77 started developing issue. Now they call back the plane so they can really go through the plane to really make sure that the plane is fit for use. Now the clip you're seeing right now is Chapo's wife, Emma Coronel, arrested in the U.S. over drug trafficking. You know El Chapo? Yes, the drug lord, the kingpin in Mexico. His wife right now have been fingered also with trafficking drugs in the U.S. El Chapo was, like, you know, captured, and somewhere along there he managed to escape, though he was still recaptured. But the wife went to the U.S. thinking that she's, like, you know, having this clean slate, that she's going to make her way straight. Guess what? She was fingered, yeah, in drug peddling, dealing on drugs. Let's see what the U.S. attorney will really say about this, how the case will be judged, because they take time to dot their I's and, of course, cross their T's to give us almost a near perfect judgment whenever it comes to drug traffickers. I know the judge will be fair, because I believe that they might have gotten enough evidence to nail Chapo's wife. Let's get straight down to Myanmar, where the protest is still ongoing, with many protesters saying free Aung San Suu Kyi. Yeah, that should be the next video right now, because Myanmar, they don't know peace as it stands. They don't know peace. Right now, Myanmar junta warns of lethal force as huge crowds gather for protest. If they have to go back to their houses to take a chill pill to relax, the military, they know what they are doing. They want to give back democracy to the people of Myanmar, but they are saying no. For democracy to really thrive in Myanmar, you have to release the politicians, yes, that are there to really balance the power with the military, because the military took over everything, chasing politicians away, putting them under house arrest, and Aung San Suu Kyi is among the politicians that were bad never to come out for now. And now they've tried the water spray. They've tried the tear gas. They don't want to go into lethal force, but they warn the citizens that, look, if these protests persist, we may be forced to use lethal force. When I mean lethal force, it could just be live bullets. Yeah, it could be as dangerous and as deadly as that. I mean, live bullet being shot into the crowd to make sure that they do one or two things, or will I say, go back to their home. But the protesters, they are resolute, they are resilient, they are saying you have to free our person, or else this protest will continue. To be no peace for the junta. What you did to us is a coup. But the minister is saying, look, this is not a coup. We had complaints of election irregularities. That's why we came into the scene to maintain law and order. But it's not going down too well with the citizens of Myanmar. What do you think will happen? Our fingers are crossed. Joe Biden made a statement, but still the junta, they are not even perturbed. They are still there, say they want to maintain law and order. What do you think will be the outcome? Will lethal force be used? Will lethal weapon be used? How many persons do you think will lose their life in that protest in Myanmar, all because of the running over of democracy by the military? Anyway, That is by the way. For today on International Forum is all about Biden's administration and, of course, the Middle East peace deal. Remember Donald Trump, former president of the United States of America, he was able to lay a solid foundation for the U.S. peace deal. Talking about Israel, talking about United Arab Emirates, talking about so many other countries coming together so there will be a peace, so to speak, in the Middle East. Now that he's out of office, Iran, they are talking about how I put that, enriching their nuclear capabilities. Yes, the big question now is, will Joe Biden really focus on lasting peace in the Middle East? Can they really build on what Donald Trump has succeeded in laying a foundation or added blocks to of that particular aspect of finding peace in the Middle East? All these and more will take a look at today's edition of International Forum. With me here in the studio is a legal practitioner, a human rights activist. Joining to welcome Barrister Henry Nwanzo. Barrister, welcome to International Forum.
Good afternoon.
I appreciate your comment. All right. Here we are. We have a new man at the helm of affairs, and this man is Joe Biden. According to so many persons, he is the long or awaited Messiah. To some persons, Trump didn't do exceedingly well. To some persons, Trump really threw America back to the dark ages. But why to some very few, they're saying Trump is really the man to be president of the United States of America because of his achievements. You know, different folks and different strokes. Right now we have a Joe Biden, and there's the question of the Middle East. Don't forget that Iran, they are threatening to go back to enrich their nuclear capabilities. I mean, the Middle East peace deal. What do you have to say about this?
Well, just like something you said, that some persons are saying that Donald Trump didn't do well or threw America back from years
dark ages.
Dark ages. I don't buy that idea because the man came, he saw, and he actually conquered. Notwithstanding the challenges he had towards the end of his administration, coupled with the issue of the coronavirus, then coming to the election proper, where he raised some vital issues, which I know in future America will address on the issue of this electoral college, as it were. And I know that Americans will look at it properly. The man on his own has been able to raise issues. It is not left for the government, or those who have come and those who will come in future, to look at it. Is it proper to use the electoral college system? And if at all they are going to use, are they hackers? You know, will hack the election, as it were, in favor of a particular candidate at the end of the day. So these are the issues that they will look at. Then coming to the issue of the Middle East, for the 4 years the man was in office, there was peace in the Middle East, up to my own understanding, as it were. The man was able to stabilize the Middle East. Those who were there trying to create problems, as it were. It's not like Iran talking. And then they never talk. You remember the man, the strong man of Iran. He never knew where the bullet hit him, and that was the end of the man. Iran was threatening they are going to do. They never did anything. For the 4 years the man was in office, the man was able to stabilize the Middle East, from my own understanding, as it were. Then looking at Joe Biden coming in, you only be looking at the statement from Richard Mills as well as the statement from Blinken, the UN Secretary of State, as it were. Though they are talking about seeing how the Palestinians will have a say, as it were, because they are seeing that Donald Trump shut out the Palestinians totally, because they look at the 5.5 million Palestinians, the kind of aid which America usually give. In times of Donald Trump, it was cut off. You also look at Donald Trump recognizing Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. And they're going further to move the diplomatic mission all the way from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, as it was. These are some of the issues. But even Joe Biden, from what the UN Secretary of State said, he said on those two issues, they are not going to reverse it, as it were, because they know truly on their own part that they going back there will be creating more tension in the Middle East. You look at it critically. For the 4 years Donald Trump was there, there was relatively peace in the Middle East, as it were. From my own understanding, from the understanding of everyone, these threats were never there. But though Joe Biden is talking about trying to give an opportunity to the Palestinians, especially those, making it a situation where it will be 2 states, as it were. You know, quite unlike what you have presently, where it is purely Israel, as it were. So, but to me, it will also create a problem. Because the moment you try to give that which has been taken away from the people, and there has been relative peace in the place, the moment you try to create an understanding, trying to create that awareness to the people, and wanting them for that which for some years now they have, is more or less as if they have died down, to me, as it were. Right. Though they might be nursing it on their own, but to me, it is.
Okay, the right now we're picking it one at a time. Now, from when Joe Biden was inaugurated, in part of his speech, he said something: "We are back. America is back." That means America, so to speak, is back again to occupy that position of the police of the world. And you can't talk about police in the world without talking about the Middle East. After all, Israel is part also of that particular region of the world. You talked about the Palestinian. When Donald Trump was there, according to your own analysis, he never sent relief materials to Palestine. He never honored the deal that they had. Now, if Joe Biden chooses to honor that deal, do you think it's going to cause turbulence in that region, giving Palestinians that breath that they need to say, look, Israel, we are still here. That Palestinian state must be recognized.
Especially in the West Bank, as well as East Jerusalem, as it were. That's what I was trying to say, that for the period Donald Trump was in office, for that 4 years, he never had anything from the Middle East, as it were. But the coming of Joe Biden and trying to dance towards that idea of giving the Palestinians, because the PLO, for the past 4 years, I've never had anything. After the death of Arafat and some other persons who have led them, as it were, nobody has had anything. It is more or less as if they are no longer in existence. And even for the fact that they used to have their office in Washington, which Donald Trump removed, kept them on that go. Though some countries said that the action of Israel in occupying the West Bank as it were as East Jerusalem, that it is illegal, but to some extent it has remained, and that has brought relative peace. To me, it has brought relative peace to the Middle East. So Joe Biden thinking of how he's going to create that avenue for the Palestinians to have a say, it is going to create a crisis. And when the crisis comes, it is going to overwhelm the people. You will also see that Israel, with some Arab nations, I think 4 or thereabouts, they have come into kind of agreement. Donald Trump was able to do this, which was never in existence, as it were. So giving room to the Palestinians will create a problem. So I don't believe that Biden should go towards that, because the agitation from these people will come up, as it were.
But are you now saying that Palestinians, they don't have the right to agitate for their free state?
No, they have. Nobody is contesting that. They have.
And without the support of America, do you think that will happen? Because according to what you rightly talked about, you said Donald Trump was able to bring them down. No. They didn't have a voice because there was like no spokesman for them, unlike the time of Arafat that was able to push the Palestinian dream to the fore and the world listened to Arafat. They don't have an Arafat right now.
Yes, and again, you look at the scenario, as it were, now, presently, does no longer give room for that which they agitate. It is their right. Nobody is denying the fact. It's just like in this part of the world. Some of us here now are agitating that we want our own states. But the question there is, have you followed the due process, as it were, that will enable you get that what you want? Is it through violence? Because the problem is that these people are coming through violence. Because if they are not coming through, if it requires going to dialogue, understanding as it will be that we want our state, but again you want your Jewish state. But these people are saying that most probably you are not from this part of the world, that you came to occupy, and you cannot have a state in our particular in our homeland, as it were. That is the issue between them. But if you are able to go into dialogue without you being confrontational, as it were, at the end of the day, you might get to the point of view. But Joe Biden, with the style is going to take, it will create problem in the Middle East, especially in that West Bank. For the past 4 years, they have been peace, because you have not heard that maybe an Israeli soldier was killed or a Palestinian soldier was killed or anybody was killed for this period, as it were, because everybody was able to know the limit at which you will go. We now understand that at this point in time, this is how it is, and we all buy by it.
No, right now she's talking about the West Bank because Israel was told to stop building, but it's like they're disobeying the,
They are
the
disobeying.
order.
They are building.
They are still building,
They are still
capturing
building
more territories.
as it
So
were.
now, do you think that Joe Biden will be able to step up to tell Israel, please, for now you have to stop, because he said America is back. After before Donald Trump, it used to be America for everyone, even people in the Middle East. But Donald Trump said America first. And now we have a Joe Biden that said America is back. How do you think Joe will take care of that?
Well, to me, let's see what happens at the end of the day. He just came into office just a few months ago, and let's see the young men who attended the United Nations Security Council meeting. They have been able to expose us to some of the issues they want to address, as it were, in relation to maintaining the capital, as it were, the relationship in terms of their diplomatic mission, either reopening it or not reopening it, because they have equally talked about they want to reopen them. These are the issues they have already said. But we want to watch, will they actually actualize all as it will? Because trying to actualize all, will it not bring strain between their relationship between Israel? Though the secretary, Anthony, has already said that whatever is the position of the Israelis, they want to maintain that relationship at its were. That is his own position. But another question is, what now happens if they now go contrary? Because they are talking about what the secretary was talking about in terms of the Israel. What their own position is that they should go with their negotiating plans as planned by Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Because they want to follow that pattern that was done by Donald Trump, not that which Joe Biden on his own part is talking about.
All right, he's talking about what Joe Biden is going to do, because he said America is back. That was a statement he used. People are like listening to it, and they are saying, if America is back, is America going to be for everyone, or is it going to be just for some persons? That is the question in the heart of so many Americans. Now, let's leave the West Bank for now. We'll come back to it later. Let's take a look at the threat of Iran. Remember, a general was killed. He was executed in Iraq due to the order given by Donald Trump. And it didn't really go down too well with the Iranians. Right now, they're talking about enriching their nuclear capability. What do you feel about that threat?
Well, you see, at each point in time, you look at the leader who is in the office. That is what I am seeing that the Iranians are looking at. They are looking at Joe Biden because he's a Democrat. He might not have that kind of strong will to do certain things we usually see in American presidents, like George Bush and others. So I believe that is the angle at which they want to test the water to see what will be the reaction of America. But I know definitely, no matter how it is, whether it's a Democrat or what is it called? The Republican. The interest of America, when it borders on the issue of terrorism, on the issue of certain countries, these things that normally affects others, I know they take the same position.
All right, now you just want to go for a break. When we return, we're going to continue with this discussion because it's all about the peace deal in the Middle East. When Donald Trump was there, it was like he had it under control. He was able to broker peace between Israel and, of course, the Arab League, and they are at peace. So people call it a graveyard peace, but peace is peace. With the emergence of Joe Biden that said America is back, will they be able to consolidate on what Donald Trump did in the Middle East? We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Thank you so much for staying tuned. If you just joined us, this is International Forum. We'll take a look at issues bordering global events. Well, it's all about the Middle East peace deal and Joe Biden's administration. Many persons were so elated and excited when Joe Biden said America is back. When you talk about America being back, you got to take a look at also the reach of America to other parts of the world to ensure or to entrench democracy. But you also can talk about the world or America without taking a look at what is happening in the Middle East. We're talking about Iran. We have a very strong leader there, Ayatollah in Iran. Yeah. But now they are talking tough, saying, look, since you allowed North Korea to, like, do one or two things, though you had a negotiation with Kim Jong-un, they are still there maximizing, improving on their weapons. We too, we are going to empower ourselves, talking about our nuclear capability. And Israel was the one that, or the country that gave the report that Iran is enriching their nuclear capability. Now, and they reported to Donald Trump, and he took action immediately. Ever since that comment made by Iran, I don't know if Joe Biden have reacted to that comment, saying that they want to start enriching themselves when you talk about nuclear proliferation.
Just as I rightly said, I said at a point in time in the history of the world, depends on the leader who is in position. We see America, usually most of us see America as a kind of a nation where we all look at, call it an example, we all want to be like America. Just like Nigerians, somebody would say here, I want to go to America and all whatnot. We look forward to them as a superpower, as it were. And depending on the leader at the point in time, because it's the leader that determines the actions, this nation takes at each point in time. When Donald Trump was there, just as I already said, for the 4 years he was there was relative peace in the Arab world, whichever angle at which you look at it. But the truth still remains that nobody coughed. Even the Iranians that are complaining today, as it were, that this is what they want to do. When Donald Trump was there, they never tried it. And nobody talked about it, as it were. But to me, I believe that that statement is bordered on the fact that they want to know what Joe Biden, what will be his statement? What would the man say in relation to, trying to enrich their nuclear capability? What will he say? The fear most world have about Iran is that the ability to manage it. Because you look at the character of the people. Are they the people, if they acquire this nuclear capability with a single push, they can't do anything. So these are the angle at which they are looking at it. They're comparing themselves with North Korea. They are two different nations, as it were. You look at the temperament of the people, because we are looking at these people because of their nature. In the days of Ayatollah Khomeini, as it then was, you know what happened in Iran. Killings were every day. They see it as a normal way of life. For the single fact that you are committed an offense, depending, even if it is mere taking of beer, as it were, or looking at a woman, some will look at it, they can't do anything as well. So that is the angle at which they are looking at Iran. Not that what North Korea is equally doing is not the same thing that just Iran is doing, but you are looking at the people. It's the people who will be able to take control. It's the people you'll be able to talk to and say you should not do this, and they will not do it. So that is the angle at which
I understand that Joe Biden is going to follow the path of Donald Trump in handling Iran. Don't forget that during the time of Barack Obama, that was where Israel noticed the lapses. And Barack Obama, according to Israel, didn't take action. But Donald Trump took action. Here we have a Joe Biden still of the Democrat that was one-time vice president to Barack Obama, now the president. Which action do you think is going to take?
Well, I want you to consolidate on the actions taken by Donald Trump. That would be for the interest of the people of the Middle East, and that would be the interest of the world at large, as it were. Because once there is tension in Iran, or there is tension in other parts of the Middle East, virtually it will affect other parts of the world, as it were. Because people will be migrating. Not only that people will be migrating, you also find that there will be infiltrations. It's just like we are talking about today in Nigeria. Why you have high rate of insurgents, you have bandits, as it were. It's people who came from other neighboring African countries. It's not that it is those headsmen, as it were, in Nigeria that are constituted this nuisance, as it were. But people who came from South Sudan, people who came from Mali, came from other neighboring African countries, either because of one problem or the other in their part of the world, they all came, find their way into this country with arms, as it were, because our borders are porous, people can come in with arms, as it were. So it's the same thing you will find when there is crisis in the Middle East. When there is crisis in the Middle East, those freedom or those peace, the relative peace that other parts of the Middle East have been able to enjoy, they will no longer find it. There will be tension everywhere. Israel, that for now, for the past 4 years, you have not had that. I didn't hear that anybody was killed at the West Bank, as it were. I've never had, within this short period, as it were. So, but now you will find that there will be fights every day. People will be killed at the West Bank. Either for little provocation, as it were, somebody will be killed. So these are the things that I know Joe Biden, he will continue with the policy of Donald Trump in respect of the Middle East. Though he's talking about trying to give a soft landing for the Palestinians, as it were, but I know of a truth, it will not go more than that of allowing maybe for diplomatic mission, reopening some of the diplomatic mission, either for interest of easing the tension.
Now, if he should do that, don't think tension will escalate in that region.
That is another issue.
And that will let Palestine come out to say, look, we now have a claim because we have the right to exist as a state. Is it not going to escalate the situation?
That is another angle we are looking at it. Though the Secretary of State has said that some issues will be looked at, but while others will be allowed to remain as it were. Okay. So I believe equally too that aspect of it, to avoid a situation where there is a crisis in the Middle East, the man will allow things to remain as it were now. But you know politics, being at it is. At this point in time, a leader wants to leave a mark for himself, depending on the platform the leader is coming from, because that is another issue. If the platform the leader is coming from is the one that allows everybody to have a level playing ground, as it were, just as Joe Biden is from the Democrats, maybe that is the angle we'll be looking at it from. As a Democrat, it should be live and let what? Live. And even at that, as live and let it, I should be also give you the opportunity, if Israel is having Jerusalem as its capital, we should be able to allow the Palestinians to have a home of their own, which ordinarily they have been fighting for, even in the days of Arafat and others, and they had never achieved it up to the date.
All right, now let's take a look at Saudi Arabia. Can talk about the Middle East without talking about Saudi Arabia. During the time of Donald Trump, they had this robust relationship. You get to see Saudi and U.S. involved in this romance. That didn't go down too well with Iran. Do you see Joe Biden being able to continue with that relationship?
Well, to me, the relationship has favored the Americans, as it were. He will continue. It will only go back if it has not worked well for the interest of America. Because one thing you must understand is that these leaders of America, as it were, the interest of their people matters most. It's not like us in this part of the world, where one man is busy accumulating wealth for generations unborn. These people, they are looking at what will I live for generations? How will I be remembered? What will I do so that by the time I leave, generations will come, they will remember that such a man came at each one at a time and changed the narrative, as it were. But that is another thing you look at. But this is what you find in this book. So as Americans, you find their president at each point in time, they want to leave a legacy. And leaving a legacy, they leave good ones. Donald Trump on his own part, notwithstanding the election issue, is because we have never had before now. Even before he came into office, the issue of election in America was an issue. You remember? Yeah. Because of the electoral college, as it were. Clinton, the woman, in terms of the number of votes, she had the highest number of votes. But when it came to the issue of the electoral college, the game changed, as it were. So these are some of the issues that they will, the problem they have in respect of their electoral acts, which they will look at, just as we have in this part of the world. But one good thing about them is that they try to manage it. They try to arrange, put into consideration the interest of their nation first, before personal interest.
Like what you said, depends on the president in charge.
It depends on the president in charge.
Now back to Saudi Arabia, because Donald Trump is a businessman, was a business, still is a businessman before he became a president, and was able to garnish some deal between Saudi Arabia and, of course, America. Now, Joe Biden being a Democrat and all that.
He will. It depending. That's what I said. Depending on the interest. Where will it be interest be for the benefit of the Americans? Because what is important about them is their leaders is that they look at the interest of their people first. None of the Joe Biden has nothing to lose as a person. But what he needs to gain is that what he has been able to achieve, because people have voted for him, people took the risk, notwithstanding all the challenges as it were, they stood behind him. So whatever he's going to do will be for interest. So if you look at the business deal that was done by Donald Trump and look at it critically and see that it will be for the benefits of America in terms of what they will benefit, in terms of crude oil, in terms of other businesses they are going to do. To me, he will continue to do it, except he sees it from a different angle entirely. But I am not going to see. Donald Trump in himself did so well. For all the things he did, notwithstanding his shortcomings, for all the things he did in America as well. People raise certain issues on the issue of migrants and all. He said, remain in your place and develop your place. Why are you running away? If you say my country is not good, why don't you remain in your country? Those who have created problems are why your country is not moving on. Do things so that your country will be better. That was what he was saying. The Mexicans who were trying, building a wall, cutting them off from the, remain in your place, develop your place. China never, do you see, the Chinese you see going around all the world. What do you see the Chinese go? They are going there to do business and make money for them and send back home. They remain, they shut the world completely. They shut themselves out from the world for a particular time and develop their place. And this is what every nation should be able to do. At each point in time, you have those resources which God has given to you. Like Nigeria as it is, there's nothing. Plant cassava at the front of this your office. It will grow. You don't even need a fertilizer for it to grow. So God has empowered us with so much human and material resources. But because of the greed of very few of us, has kept us where we are today.
Okay, you can talk about Saudi Arabia relationship with America. We're not taking a look at the murder, well, I say the death of that renowned journalist Khashoggi. And the way Donald Trump handled that matter, many people were not really happy about it. Do you see the family of Khashoggi reopening the case? And how do you think Joe Biden will respond?
Well, it depends of if they have enough evidence to link the royal family to it. Because the truth there is that they were linking the royal family to the death. That was an angle. The question there is, do you have evidence? Had somebody been caught who actually committed the act as it were? And the person confessed that I was sent by the person from the royal family to commit the offense as it were. So these are the issues. Are they going to reopen the issue on their own that they are going to reinvestigate from the investigation that has been carried out? Are they going to do it that they are going to call a private investigator to look at it properly and come out with his or her findings to enable them to work on it? So these are some of the issues. Is America on his own part, Joe Biden on his own part, say, okay, I want this case to be reopened and for us to look at it. The question there is what is going to be his benefit. Because you first of all determine, if I'm reopening this case, what is my benefit? Is it for the interest of the Americans? Will it in any way solve an issue that is pending in America as it were? Has an American been indicted over the death of the young man in respect of it? And if the American has been indicted, what role did he play? And how did he come about playing that role as it were? These are some of the issues that we will look at.
But according to reports, some of this report pointed to the royal family that they're the ones responsible because of the soldiers, because of the bodyguard for the royal family that went into Turkey, that embassy. Don't forget also about the outcry of the president of Turkey, Erdogan. He said, look, we really know what happened. We have proof. We have everything. But Donald Trump didn't act in accordance to what many persons thought he was going to act like.
Well, if the president of Turkey said he has proof, was the crime committed in Turkey? That is the issue. Because you look at the jurisdiction where a crime has been committed and look at what the law says in respect of such crime in that particular jurisdiction. And who are those persons responsible as it were they caught? Because if the man is saying, I have proof, the proof, did he make the proof open to the world as it were? Was Donald Trump privy to those proofs as it were? Is the family of the journalists, are they privy to those proofs, to the crime that was committed to their person? These are some of the issues that need to be resolved. So to me, Joe Biden, he will not be, he's just coming into office. To me, he will not be busy trying to reopen the can of worms as it were. Because sometimes when you try to reopen can of worms, you discover that certain persons are either directly or indirectly involved. Just like when you are talking about some of the assassinations that took place in this great country, Nigeria, like that of Bola Ige and a host of others. See, today the police will say they are still investigating. They are still looking for those who committed the crime, as it were. But to you and I, we know very well that sometimes they are all politically motivated. Either the person has done one thing or the other, or certain persons who want him out of the way to enable them continue what they want to do, as it was. So that is the situation.
So you're saying that Joe Biden may not do anything about it? Is that what you're saying right
now?
That they just back out for peace to reign?
To me, he might not be in. Not that he will not say something about it if it is brought before his table, as it were. But again, he will look at it properly. He will look at it properly, trying to find out what will be the benefit of America. Is it going to benefit America if we try to investigate? Because doing investigation, as it were, you involve money. It's not like this part of the world where police will arrest you first before doing investigation. In civilized world, as it were, first of all, they will be investigating you. It might take them 2-3 months to investigate you, trail all your activities, as it were, both in your neighbors, ask questions and all what. That is how it is done. They will trail you 2 months, 3 months, 6 months. Can be 1 year, can be 2 years. Your activities will be tailored. They will be monitored. All the facts about you will be taken. Your wife, your children, where you go to, if you work, your school and all whatnot, everything will be taken. Both your fingerprints in places you go, touch your hands and all whatnot. Before you are arrested, they will not have material evidence to try your case in the next 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 months. Your case is done. But in Nigeria, police will arrest you first and start investigation. Before police will conclude the investigation, the case, all the facts that would have been to ensure that you are, kept in the cooler has been destroyed.
Are you speaking as a legal practitioner or as a Nigerian?
No, I'm speaking as a Nigerian, not as a legal.
Anyway, let's leave that for now because we're not having issues right now with the police about keeping investigation. Let's leave that for now. We just can't prove it here. But
no, I'm not telling you from what I have seen as a practicing lawyer. You understand what I have seen in the society. Right. So it's the same thing I looked at from the angle of the America. Yes. That Joe Biden, it is only when there is interest, because interest determines what will be the benefit of America. How will it go in a long way, improving the well-being of America? That is the only angle you look at it from.
America is back. Many will not forget that comment. They're using that comment to really judge administration of Joe Biden, though he's still very, very young, not up to 100 days in office yet. Now, with that word, America is back, do you see Joe Biden deploy American soldiers to some key spots in the Middle East? Remember that Barack Obama started the withdrawal of troops from places like Yemen, Afghanistan, the rest of them. Donald Trump completed it by mopping it up, just leaving a few handful of soldiers here and there. Even in Iraq also, do you see Joe Biden say, look, for America's presence to be felt in the Middle East, redeploy some of our boys in that region to make sure that there is stability. Don't forget that Afghanistan right now is boiling due to attacks from terrorist group. Yeah. Do you see Joe Biden taking that step? American soldiers go to this country, go to this place, position yourself, especially in the Middle East, known as the hot spot of terrorism.
Well, to me, there will be no need, as it were presently, because Donald Trump has succeeded in bringing normalcy to the Middle East.
Don't forget, Donald Trump is no longer in the picture.
Yes, I'm telling you.
And there is no that is constant on earth.
Yes, apart from change. Yes. But you also look at it. What will be your benefit? How will it improve on the lives of the people? Because when Joe Biden talked America is back, I'm looking at it from the angle that there will be a kind of, a line for people to migrate to America, maybe from Mexico, African countries, and, giving opportunity. Again, coming to Africa is good. Giving opportunities to Africa in terms of trade, in terms of business, expanding, as it were, in those areas where Donald Trump decided to, make it solely American issue, as it were, not allowing migrants, freely to come in, either through, what is it called, visa lottery and others. That you used to have in those days, people travel out of America. And then you also find, when he's talking about it, you also find it that he's also looking at it from the angle of, America trying to take his place globally. And then globally, again, changing some narratives. If they used to, just like in the area of health, they had a challenge during this coronavirus,
Yeah.
they had a serious challenge. You will see it. They were dying in their hundreds of thousands.
Up to 500,000
Half
right
a
now.
million, you understand? Which ordinarily, from the way we look at America, with all the facilities they claim to have, you would not have been talking about death as high as that. They were not able to get the particular vaccine, as it were, within a short space of time to enable them control death. At a point in time, they were, packing the death. The morgue was already filled up. They were not putting them in cabins and all whatnot. As it, so I am looking at it from that angle. And then again, in terms of his relationship with outside world, they're talking about Africa, the Middle East, and the other parts of the world, trying to improve their relationship. It will no longer be that war. Because in the days of Donald Trump, he tried to make it in a way that if you go the way I don't want, I will not give you time for you to make an amendment. I will strike immediately. And that was what he did. And to some extent, it worked. Because sometimes you need to be violent. If you want, even Christ himself, when he got to the synagogue at a point in time, the people were trading in the father's house. He said, when he discovered that after talking to the people, they would not listen, you saw what happened. He has to use violence. So in such situations as it were, sometimes you talk to people, they will understand. So sometimes you have to use violence. So in the days of Donald Trump, they use violence. I believe Joe Biden, because he's a Democrat, might not be too harsh on the people. He might try to do it in a way that at the end of the day, peace relatively will remain as we find it presently in the Middle East, because areas where we'll be talking about mostly is the Middle East. It's no other. Africa, we have been, hunger has been worse than the war we are facing here in this part of the world. So ours have been hunger before the wars. The wars are created because certain persons want the wars to be there. So that is it.
All right, thank you so much, Barrister Henry Nwosu. But just for like take home, do you see Joe Biden stabilizing the region, talking about the Middle East, just like Donald Trump when he was the president? Do you see peace permeating right now the Middle East, or being sustained in the Middle East from your own analysis?
Yes, to me, I pray that he does that, notwithstanding him trying to take some positions in the interest of the Palestinians. But I know of the truth that the best option is to maintain the status quo presently, as it were, Donald Trump left it. That is the only way there will be peace in the Middle East. Any move for him to give the Palestinians the belief and the understanding that they have a home too, as the Israelis have, it will create a problem. And when the problem comes, every one of us, you will still remember September 11th. The homecoming back.
All right, nobody prays for 11. Nobody prays for that anymore. World Trade and the rest of them. Well, thank you so much, Barrister. Appreciate a wonderful analysis. Let's just keep watching. Let's keep waiting and see how Joe Biden's administration will really fine-tune the peace deal in the Middle East. Bye for now.